Just on that point, we established that actually it's a motivated seller because they offer that.
If they offer it, they're motivated.
Yeah.
At some level, anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so then the first thing that we analyzed that Sierra Capital analyzed is how much sales they have. They have zero sales because all this research and development, so everything had been put money into, but they have no sales or probably in the streets.
This is in Silver Oak. This is Sierra.
Sierra. Okay. Sierra Capital. No, not Silver Lake. It's Sierra Capital. Okay. It's another one. They're Albuquerque. And they have a few formulations and comparison with similar cases, how they will value this company in the future, because effectively today they don't have any way to compare if it's worth or doesn't worth the money that they're asking for. But they have no cash flow at all. It's zero. So we couldn't find any EBITDA or cash flow to finance the debt. So based on the QLA model, we decided that this is a next.
Correct.
It's actually negative.
Yeah. Well, it's negative, but actually, effectively.
How long have they been around?
This company, 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. Okay, so we said QLA motivated seller, yes, no cash flow to cover the debt. Next, gone. 5 minutes took the decision. Then the rest of the hour and a half we were discussing is if we're crunching numbers or not.
Okay. Now go back to it.
Okay.
The private equity model is not the QLA model. Oh, they get the late fees like we do, or we get them like they do, I should say. But they would look at it, just for a frame of reference, they would look at it, who's the team? Have anybody in this team ever been part of a successful product launch to get FDA approval? They would look at, other deals, is there a Nobel laureate part of the board? And their risk reward analysis would be different.
Yeah.
Because they know that they can put all the money up. They know that they can put up debt and equity to a commercial bank, and they would be paying the debt service. The company wouldn't be paying the debt service. Mm-hmm. So they very well may go ahead and do something like this. In fact, most of the deals that are brought to private equity have no cash flow or not enough to carry the debt.
It's a roll of dice.
Correct. It's a roll of the dice. That's exactly right. So just so you understand that, there's plenty of people. And one of the things that's very misunderstood is when a private equity, being the operative word, decides to do a deal, the lay public, the unsophisticated investor, thinks that they're putting all equity in. They're not. They're only putting as much equity as to satisfy a commercial bank who's going to put in the debt. And normally it's their mate, they went to school, blah, blah, blah. And like, several of the deals that ultimately you kids brought in private equity, and they had set up banks and all that stuff. They tossed them out, brought in their own banks, and put up just enough private equity or actual equity to minimum, 10, 20, 30%. And then they paid the commercial debt. Normally, their deal was at the end, a balloon. So it's not using any of the private equity firm's cash flow. Mm. So if they had to put in $70 million in debt and $30 million in equity, the payments on the $70 million would be at the end, at the exit, or maybe a 7-year note or whatever.
Yeah. Actually, they have projections which say that in only the last 2 years of the 10-year period, investment period, they will make positive cash flow.
Yeah. And that's a guess. It could be 14 years, and the...
there were two projections, one done by the same company and one by Sierra Capital. The difference was around 20% into which would be the end number.
But those are just pie in the sky guesses. Pie in the sky guesses to satisfy somebody on a credit committee.
Yeah.
And the QLA next. It would be next. But I mean, if any of these guys had, and there are guys out there that in the pharma, they're in biotech, whatever. Every 3 or 4 or 5 years they have another success. Every 3 or 4 or 5 years they have another success. They're just really good at creating these things, and then they normally just walk away. Whether the actual success turns into a viable company is a horse of a different color, and normally that's why the big pharmaceutical companies the big health companies like Cardinal, the one that my son's with, have teams and they have many, things that are applying for Federal Drug Administration approval, and realizing that not all of them do. Not all of them do. And what year was this?
2004. And the projection went up to 2015.
Yeah.
So they projected for the following 10 years.
And where is this company now? Did it get funded?
Yeah, we don't know.
No, it doesn't say the case study. Actually, we didn't have internet to check after the fact to see how it developed.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Check it.
We'll check. We'll check.
Okay, now what?
We are going for the next case, which is score.com. So we start to read the case.
Okay.
We're discussing the value of looking into the comparables of this company to see if the projections would work. But in the QLA matter,
Yeah, I mean, at least 85% of the companies that are going to be brought to you, even if they have a motivated seller, won't fit the model. Because they're just, there's not it's a bridge too far, unless they're willing to do 70, 80%
Owner finance.
Owner finance, and the guys that are doing the owner finance right now, the sellers, when they're told, and it's normally not the first person they talk to buy their company, because they still have these aspirations and these rose petals in their eyes, thinking that they're going to get this, that, and the other thing. It's after a while, then they realize, unless I become part of the solution via carrying the paper back and being part of the financing in a big way, I'm never going to be able to sell this thing. Another guy, an IT guy from a few years ago, his famous words are, were then and now, I'd love to pay 11 times. But down in your heart, that's not the market. And I'm not going to be able to finance more than 4 or 5. So, if you want to do it now, fine. If you don't, and the closer to 4 or 5, the higher the probability you're going to have to take back paper. If you want to just do 2 times EBITDA, I can tell you right now, we got to shake on the deal. It's a done deal, subject to due diligence. And once in a while, somebody will just say, I just get this thing off my back. And again, even people that agree to 2 times EBITDA, and when it's subject to due diligence, as all your offers should be, you'll find something to knock it down. Because they charged this, or they didn't charge this, or they wrote this off and they shouldn't have written it off, etc. And so, and all those things in total normally reduce the purchase price. Okay, any other questions?
In terms of this case, is it helpful for us to dig into the numbers of what are serious projections that they're making? What are
well, it depends what you're trying to accomplish. If from a pure academic point of view, no. And getting these deals done, you should only be analyzing them after the fact, when you know it's going to close and you know that you're going to be responsible for operations. Because remember, these deals, even though it doesn't seem like it, these deals are easier to buy than to run. They just are. It's like the case where the guys didn't show up to pick up the Christmas packages. Remember?
Oh yeah.
When it's your business and this is happening every day or every other day, and you got employees, they're disgruntled, and please believe me, when you're buying these companies, they're not introducing you to the unhappy employees. They're not introducing you to the disgruntled employees, and that's a good point. Remind me today. I want to explain to you. They agree a price, and you're going to buy the company, and you're closed. But how you interview the
personnel.
Yeah, personnel.
Yeah.
What personnel are important to interview?
What personnel is important?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've seen deals die. Everything's agreed, and then all of a sudden they talk to some of the key personnel, or see most of the kids are too lazy to go. Let's say you're based in Chicago, and you got operations in Tuskegee, in Oakland, California, or wherever the fuck, and you don't go there, and you should. And it's remind me also about the famous $1 billion deal in China. There was a Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and floated on the London Stock Exchange, and there was no business. All they had was a corporate headquarters in Beijing or Shanghai, and 3 floors of offices, and but all those factories that were supposed to be out in the hinterlands weren't. And they took aerial photographs of the buildings, but nobody went in the buildings. And when my youngest MBA son, we were buying power plants, we're trying to, and Derek said, I've got the helicopters lined up for tomorrow morning. Everybody at the table, sellers, turned this color. And that's hard for a Chinese person to turn this color. The deal died because
there was no power plant.
Well, I don't know. We never saw one. The closest one was 18 hours by car. That's fine, Derek. Young, energetic. Well, we got the choppers ready. And so, I mean, you'd think that you'd kick the tires. Yeah. But, okay, anything else? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, so it just depends on what our...
what you're trying to get the first filter, yes or no, or next. I mean, you don't need to know to know the actual gravity or the strength of the numbers. You only need that. For if you want to during due diligence, if you want to you're trying to knock the purchase price down. Like other than an audit, they may have a one-off sale. And you look at the footnotes and currency exchange, $11 million plus. So that means because their currency against whatever other base currency went up $11 million bucks. So and that's why the earnings look like this. So I mean, and unless you ask those questions, or unless it's a real audit and you read, and it will be in the footnotes. And then I told you about another thing a couple of days ago. There's transactions post-audit. In other words, after the audit, if year end is December 31 and something happens February 6th or 10th or 12th, it won't be in the audited numbers. But it's still supposed to be as a footnote, as a post-audit transaction. They may have lost $300 million on the 5th of February, and it's not part of the numbers. Now, you'd think that a professional investment bank would notify you of that. Well, they may or they may not. Normally, when they don't tell you about stuff like that, they'll say, because you're dealing with a lot of junior people as well, a junior person will have forgotten, or they blame it on a junior person. Well, we apologize, but he's just a kid, he's only been out of Stanford 2 years, and blah, 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 blah. They give you a lot of shit. But, and that's why, as I've said, there is no algorithm compression for experience. And that's why your dream team has got to have gray hair and scar tissue. Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay, so lunch is at 1. We reconvene at 2, and I may be back again because it's still early.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.